ladies and gentlemen. So, welcome to episode 5 of On the Fence with Business. Tonight's guest will be Don Brown of Don Brown Design. Don Brown is not only a graphic designer, but a serial entrepreneur, a man of God, and not only that, my friend, and I am also a client of his. So, without further ado, I'm going to formally introduce Don, and then I'll let him talk to you guys. Don Brown is a creative professional, a voracious entrepreneur, a Philly native, a follower of Christ, and an advocate for all things that bring African Americans justice and freedom. Don's love of creativity comes from his passion for art. His father put a pencil and paper in front of him at the age of 2 and has been drawing, painting, and creating ever since. His passion for art led him to getting his bachelor's degree in graphic design communication. Today, Don owns and operates Don Brown Design, a full service design staffing agency with nationwide clientele. He also operates as an influencer, working with private label brands and national chain stores to grow their e commerce market share. He continues to push his entrepreneur abilities to create more opportunities for entrepreneurs and create spaces for economic growth within the African American community. Don. Now, you showing off because listen,
What's up, Denise?
right. Like,
I,
I be watching your stories and all that. Like, look, if I can't watch CNN, I know where to come.
well, hey, I pride myself on being an awoke individual, very enlightened and educated on all things pertaining to not just my business, not just my industry, but my community. So, yeah, I do a little bit of everything. And first, I just want to say thank you for having me on. This is awesome. I see you doing your thing from afar. So, I was definitely honored when you asked me to come on and share a little bit of my story and what I have going on. So I'm excited about this. Definitely looking forward to it.
Oh, no problem. I try to choose guests or, present the opportunity to people who have a voice. They're on the
Right.
rise. A lot of times when people are presented with the opportunity, it's usually maybe a podcast who has some numbers already. I mean, don't get me wrong. We just reached 100 downloads, but, I just
Right.
wanted people to,
Congratulations for that too.
thank you,
Congrats.
people who have not may have, gotten an opportunity to be on a podcast yet or, have made an appearance, but, it's not often talked about. So, I'm honored as well. I support you in anything that you do, refer clients and everything. So tell us more about Don Brown Design. Like, how did that come about?
Okay, sure. So, um, to our clients, Don Brown Design is a full service design agency. We are based out of Philadelphia. We serve clients all around the US right now. We offer graphic design services, web design services, photography and videography services, as well as CRM design, which is sort of like a customer relationship management platform that allows our clients to engage with their customers, take payments, schedule appointments, all those things that are important to a business, and they can do it all under one roof. So that's to our clients. That's kind of what we are, long story short. But to creatives, Don Brown Design is a creative staffing agency. We offer opportunities for creatives worldwide. So graphic designers, photographers, videographers, illustrators. If you are creative and you need work right now, you can definitely reach out to us. We partner with a handful of creatives that have a particular set of skills that we find would be useful to the agency, and we offer them assignments. Where they can complete them as required and make a little bit of money on the side. So we service clients, but we're also a hub for creatives as well.
So much respect to the craft, just giving back to people and providing opportunities. I think you definitely hit a milestone when you're able to provide employment to people. I think, you reached a level of success. People say that, but to be able to actually do it and be able to put money in people's pockets,
Right,
I
right.
think is definitely rewarding.
So it's certainly humbling, right? Because, and I'm sure we'll go into my backstory, but just to be in a position right now that I can offer other people opportunities, and I don't necessarily need the opportunity for myself, it's pretty amazing to fathom, right now. So I pinch myself a lot, when I look at the projects that come across my desk and the people who I actually enjoy giving the opportunity to. It's a pretty amazing feeling, and I'm certainly thankful. God has been good in my life, and I take no credit of it. For myself. It's just a lot of hard work and a lot of blessings. So I'm definitely thankful to be where I
Mm, I totally understand. I mean, I remember, like, I can't say when you first started, but when I found you, you know,
am. Right.
you were by yourself. So just to see the growth of a black man, I think we're at war right now, uh, just in the world, man, period. But I just know for sure that it's a few odds out there. So, definitely that's always rewarding. But did you always start in graphic design? Like, what made you want to venture into web design and
Okay, good question. So, and this is a this is a bit of a long story, but then again, that's why we're on a podcast, right? So we can share
right?
these sort of things. So, way back in the day, yeah, I know you had mentioned in my bio that my father taught me how to draw, which he did. So I'm one of four. I have three sisters, and my father taught us all how to draw. It was one of our pastimes. After dinner, we would all sit at the dinner table, which I know sounds a bit old fashioned, right? An entire family sitting at a dinner table, but that's what we used to do. We used
Mm-hmm.
to eat dinner together, and then once dinner was over, he would break out the sketchbook and he would draw something random, a basketball player, an animal, a house, whatever it may be. And all of us, we would have to copy his sketch. And so I remember I was super young, but I remember these competitions, if you will, because we all tried to outdo each other, and put together a sketch that resembled his sketch. So that's kind of where my art skills started. I owe that all to my father. And as I began to grow, I began to hone those skills. Initially, as a kid, I wanted to be an artist. I literally just wanted to grow up. I wanted to paint pictures and get paid to
So
do
did
so.
I. So did I. I
Yeah,
mean,
but
yeah, we are artists now. I'm just saying. But that was
right,
always just,
right.
I just couldn't wait to be like, wait till I have a picture on the wall somewhere.
Yeah, and that was my idea of success. I guess as an elementary school kid and a middle school kid, and around middle school, my mom began to get in my ear. So my mom is Jamaican. She's from St. Mary's in Jamaica, and a lot of immigrant families or immigrant parents, they really stress education, which I totally understand because,
Mm-hmm.
coming from a lot of these countries, they don't have access to quality education. So for us, their offspring, if we have the opportunity to go to college, get some higher education, they really stress that. So even for high school, I had all the intentions to go to Kappa, which, if you're from Philly, you're familiar with Kappa, the Creative and Performing Arts High School. And all my friends were going there, and I wanted to go there to study art as well as play music. I'm a drummer. I always played the drums as well. So drums and art was always my thing. And so that was my plans I had for my own life as a middle schooler. And then my mom stepped in, and she didn't think that majoring in art would be the best thing for me. In her mind, she wanted me to go to a high school where I could you know be put in a track to go to college, and get a degree with in a major that would earn me a lot of income. So she wasn't so excited about my idea to go to Kappa and major in art. So what actually happened was I wound up going to a small magnet school in North Philadelphia, called George Washington Carver, affectionately known as ENS for short. And I went there. It's for engineering and science. So I took engineering classes. Actually, wound up going to college for architecture for 3 semesters, and wound up hating it. I mean, I had fun the first semester, but after that, I realized architecture was not for me. I thought it was going to be a way for me to draw and make money, and there's not too much drawing going on in architecture. It wasn't what I thought it was going to be. So at that point, I made the decision to leave the School of Architecture and switch my major to graphic design. So at that point, I think it was spring semester in 2009, I made the decision to major in graphic design, and that has been my love ever since.
Oh wow. So
I know,
that's
right? Crazy story, right?
no,
There's
but
a
I mean,
backstory to it.
no, but I mean, I totally understand. Like, I think it just doesn't get any better than that because your parents are a part of your story.
Yeah, for
Your
sure.
backstory too, and it just shows you how important a relationship with your parents is. A lot of times, we don't value that as kids, and then you get
Right.
older and your time with them runs out.
Yeah, unfortunately so. One thing I can say about my mom, she's always been involved with us in our education endeavors, and my dad as well. So, I'm thankful for them. And even with that decision that was made when I was younger, I know they meant well, and I know it was coming from a good place. They just wanted to make sure that I was set up financially, in a career field that would allow
Hmm.
me to be successful financially and make money. So I certainly understand that their intentions were good, but it is ironic that we've come full circle, and I'm back in an industry that I was interested in from the beginning. Being art and graphic design. So I'm still drawing, just in a different way. Instead of pencil and paper, all my art is done on a laptop these days. So I certainly feel like we've come full circle, and yeah, I'm excited to be where I am right now.
It don't get no better than that. I feel like one thing that nobody could take away from this, not even a job, is our abilities. I think sometimes we forget about our abilities when we get frustrated with these jobs, or if you get fired, or like, let's think of the pandemic. Many people lost their jobs, and you question, like, well, what am I good at? You might have been a chef before you went to work for somebody else, or a DJ, or you know you got things that we deem as hobbies that really could make us money. Like, if we haven't seen it anywhere else, is that your hobbies can become money makers. You really, or you could teach other people how to do these things. So, definitely make sure you tap into what you're good at. Don't forget about it, because they say if you don't use it, you lose it. But Don, let's talk about these websites. I know firsthand, what type of websites that Don creates, because that's how we quote unquote met. Like, I found him on social media. He was, promoting himself. And I was like, oh, I want my website done. Had never heard of him before. And I, contacted him. And the transition, or the conversation and consultation, was so smooth. Like, he had me convinced immediately.
That's a
He
good job,
just,
right? I
the
did what I was supposed to do.
yes, the intake process was just smooth. It was like, when I got on the phone with you, You said, this is what I do. You had it structured. This is what you would need to move forward. I could send you my contract over. You could read it over. If it's not a good fit, that's okay too. But it wasn't a thing of like you selling yourself. It was like, hey, this is my process. This is what I do. You go look at my work.
In these social media streets, there's a lot of different ways to get clients and a lot of different ways people go about acquiring clients. One thing that I'm proud of that, I've built my business off of my name. The success that I've had is because I've gone to bat for clients and went the extra mile and really put in work to make sure that once we're done, they're satisfied with the finished product. And I've been fortunate enough to have that pay off in the sense that clients understand. Most clients understand what they're going to get. When they come work with me. I don't have to lowball my services. I don't have to pitch on price. I pitch on quality. I tell people I'm not Fiverr. My company isn't Fiverr. You're not going to get a design for $5 over here. But you're also going to be glad that you didn't. Because whether it's myself or my team, we're going to make sure that we deliver, and we're going to make sure that once it's all said and done, you're satisfied with your finished product, whether that's a logo, a website, an illustration, or anything else.
Understood. Like I said, I mean, I've experienced firsthand um your services, and they were well worth it. I knew what it was like to have a free one, but you
Right.
know what I'm saying? I feel like,
Yep.
you have those cookie cutter websites, but I feel like it's not personalized. While it may seem or appear that it is, it's still nothing like the person building the website that you want and asking you various questions you know, that you might not have thought about, or telling you
Hmm.
what you need. Like, do you want a one page? Do you want 5 pages? Do you, and I think you don't really know the anatomy of a website until somebody breaks it down to you. You go to a website to go shopping and you just clicking on home, contact, shop. You don't really know these things.
Right. Right. Yeah, it's a lot that goes into getting a website that fits your business, and that's really our special demographic. We like to work with entrepreneurs with growing businesses. Now, that's not to say that we can't service anyone, because we do. We service anyone and everyone. But from just from my experience, I've seen us be able to bring the most value to entrepreneurs who are just starting a business. They want a website to represent their brand, maybe to sell their product, and just be that online business card. That face to their business. And I love working with entrepreneurs because, one, I'm an entrepreneur myself, but also I understand that as an entrepreneur, your business is going to grow. That's what we're in business for, right? We're in business so our businesses can grow. And I love working with entrepreneurs from the very beginning and watching them as their business scales and expands, and being able to create and build a website for them that can grow right alongside their business. So I love doing that. It's an exciting thing when I see it. I've had the pleasure of working with some first time entrepreneurs, and really working with them from when they just got started and was a small company to when they're fully grown or continuing to grow, and earning six figures or more. So it's a very fulfilling experience to know that you played some minor role in their success by creating a website that, one, their clients love, but two, their clients are able to maneuver and utilize the website, to purchase services and engage with the company.
The funny part is that I want to share with you, with the listeners, is I had to wait my turn to get a website with Don.
Yeah, it didn't have to wait too long. I guess it was a
Not too
little wait, a
long,
little bit
but it
of a
was a
wait.
little wait. But I was like, look, I'm gonna wait because I don't want to mess it up and it not, be working correctly, or, who's hosting it. Because I think when you're putting all these pieces together, not only do you have to find somebody to host it, but you getting a domain name and all these different things. And I was able to actually get that with Don. So, one question that I have is that, and I'm sure that many listeners probably have, is if you have to wait for a graphic designer to get to your project, is that a good thing or a bad thing?
Okay, okay. Good question. Me personally, I would say that that's a good thing. From a client's perspective, um, if you have to wait, however long for your designer to get to you, one, that should tell you that the designer is good, right? Because you're not the only client that is getting serviced by this designer. If you hit up a designer and he's not, or she's not doing anything, they're just twiddling their thumbs, sitting on their hands, waiting for someone to call, that should tell you something as well, you know. So from the client's perspective, anyone out there that's listening right now, and you think you might need a graphic designer, whether it's for a logo, a website, business cards, or anything else, if you contact a designer and they're not able to get to you right away, in my professional opinion, I would say that that's not a bad idea. That's not a bad thing. It should tell you that, one, they have steady clientele, so they do good work, right? If they didn't do good work, they wouldn't have people, employing them for their services. So if I had to give any advice to um, future clients, I would say give yourself enough time for a successful website launch. Everything takes time in business. It took you time to put together your business plan. It took you time to put together your mission statement. It took you time to get your LLC or DBA, or whatever professional business license that you had to get. It took you time to come up with a business plan. It took you time to do all these necessary parts of getting your business up and running. And I think you shouldn't treat your website any different. It's going to take you time to get your logo designed. It's going to take you time to get your website designed if you're working with a designer who's actually good at what they do. So, in my past, I've seen a lot of designers, a lot of clients, they take 6 to 8 months to get all of their ducks in a row for their business, as far as legalities, paperwork, and everything, bank accounts. And then when it comes time to the website, they call me up and they want a website in a week. And I have to be the bearer of bad news and let them know, well, hey, I have 6 clients in front of you who I'm designing websites for. So I may not be able to get to your website for another month or so. You
Mm-hmm.
know, so that, if I had to give people any advice, if you are in the market for a website or any graphic design services, make sure you do yourself and your business justice by giving yourself enough time to actually have a successful launch, and you don't have to be up against the clock or up against any deadlines that are imposed, whether by yourself or anyone else. So um, long answer, but that definitely would be my answer, regarding design services and having to wait for services.
No, I think you gave a good answer. I think sometimes, the short answer isn't always the best answer. Um, so what is like the benefit of using like a customer resource management system? But before I do that, listeners, I want to let you know what a LLC is for those that don't know, a limited liability company, which more or less in layman's terms would be that you are using your social security number. Like the liability is on you, but not on you. So, it is definitely different from when you hear people say like a corporation or things like that. And in a further episode, I'll go more into detail. And a DBA is a doing business as, is if you use a name and your website was called Pringles, but you wanted the website to also be called Chips. So for legality, you would use Pringles, but when you're branded items, you may use Chips. But I just wanted to, go into detail about that for people who are not well versed in entrepreneurship or never heard those terms. But you have the floor, Don.
Okay, sure. So, speaking about CRM systems, which is something that I actually utilize for my own business, and once I saw just how well they worked and how efficient they made my business processes, I decided to offer them to my customers as well. So, a CRM system, like I said earlier, is basically a database for business owners where they can manage and maintain all of the business interactions that they have with their clients. So, a really good CRM system would allow you, or it would allow your clients to schedule appointments for you. If your business requires appointments, they will be able to schedule those appointments. It gives you marketing capabilities. So, a big part of business is data. How much data can you mine? How much data can you have on your clientele? So it does come with marketing capabilities. Usually, you're able to send emails or text messages out to your customer base. And if you're familiar with, let's see, Mailchimp or Constant Contact, that's basically built into a CRM system, and the CRM systems that we design here at Don Brown Design. So, scheduling capabilities, marketing capabilities, obviously accepting payments, which for any business, that's like the number one thing, right? You want to be able to set up a payment system that's easy for your clients. A lot of times, I know for me, before I built my own CRM system, I was dealing with the Cash App and the Venmo and PayPal and all those things, and it became work really, because I had to make sure that I had all these different platforms for clients to use, and then I always had to check each platform to make sure that the money went through. So rather than having to deal with that headache, the CRM systems that we build come with portals built right into it. So a client can go right online, log into their portal, which is password protected, and they can pay for their services with a credit card, a debit card, or PayPal if they so choose. So the payment side of it, we've seen it really be helpful for clients and the businesses that they run. And last but not least, analytics. So I know for my business that is very big for us. We like to know, how many clients do we have at total? How many clients do we service on any given basis? What percentage of our clients are logo clients versus website clients versus illustration clients versus photography and videography clients? All of that data is stuff that me personally, I want to know about my business. So I know my customer base, I know how to approach my customer base. And so that has worked really well for us. And, so it just made sense to include that function into the CRM systems that we build for clients because, we all have businesses here and our clients, they
Mm-hmm.
want to know that same information, right? You want to know, your client demographic. You want to know who's opening up emails. You want to know um, how many of your clients maybe you've interacted with, but they haven't paid you for services or they haven't purchased anything.
I'm so glad you mentioned data
Yeah,
because the data, I think people really don't know how important data is. Even when
right.
you have clothing, you're selling food, you know, and I think new entrepreneurs or, ones that are seasoned definitely have to pay attention to that because you'll end up wasting a lot of money if you're not. Like
Oh, yeah,
having 50 things on your menu that people are not buying,
right, right,
as opposed
exactly.
to if you have things that are interchangeable. Like if you had wings and you use one sauce, or you had wings and you use 10 different sauces. That way you're saying, okay, our main product is chicken. So if people wanted regular chicken, barbecue, lemon pepper, it doesn't really cost you much to be able to do that versus you got all these different chicken products and people are only ordering chicken wings and chicken fingers. So now,
Right, right.
yeah, you don't want to waste a lot of money if you get that one person that be like, oh, y'all got chicken meatballs. Like you may be selling that very seldom. So that is something from collecting data to see, hey, what days of the week are people mostly buying? Is it the weekend? So we know we need to buy more. Because no business should be running out of their signature item or any item that's on a menu that's highly requested.
Yeah, for sure. I agree.
So you just have to pay attention to data. Like I said, no matter what you're doing, what clothes they buying, I think, some people love seeing sold out on the website. But if you were doing proper inventory management, you would know that when you get to a few of them, that, okay, I need to start ordering more, or your
Hmm.
employees need to be telling you, hey, listen, we getting low on, the ketchup packets or condiments, so that when somebody asks, that may be the highlight of their whole meal. I like extra ketchup, and you like, I don't have ketchup. That
You're in
could be
trouble.
the
You're in
yeah,
trouble there.
yeah, that really could determine whether you have an irate customer or if they give you a bad review. And the last thing you want is a bad review over some ketchup when it
Right.
ain't had to be that deep.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a very avoidable bad review. That could have been avoided easily.
So, what do clients need to know about websites and vice versa with, designers?
Okay. So I had mentioned, I guess I won't go back over that one. I already talked about, giving giving the designer enough time to actually complete your services. I would
Mm-hmm.
say that's definitely the number one thing. But other than that, specifically about websites, if you're, whether you're my client or you're someone else's client, it's certainly important to understand that your website can be your greatest asset if it's built correctly. Your greatest asset. And I spoke about this, I touched on it lightly earlier, but so many times I come across entrepreneurs who started a business and they initially went the route of a web builder, something like a Wix site or a Weebly site. And those sites are pretty easy to get up and running. Like if you just need something online in 5 minutes, you can do that you know but the challenge arises when their business starts growing, right? And they need added functionality. They need different softwares um, to help their business run smoothly. And now, they might have a free Wix site, but to get those added functions, Wix, tries to put them into a package, right? Or sometimes they outright don't have that functionality available. And that's the worst case scenario. If you're an entrepreneur, you started a business, maybe you've made that initial investment for a web builder website, and then you get, 6 months, 8 months, a year into your business career, and you need to change your website. You need some form of software to put on your website, and the web builder that you've chosen doesn't have that software available on their platform. You know, that's I've seen that happen a couple times, and it's painful, but you have to basically, get rid of that site and build a brand new one that
Mm-hmm.
includes that functionality that you need. And so I caution my clients that come to me, hey, it's going to be very tempting to just get a Wix site, a free version, and put that online, or even one of the paid platforms, one of the lower ones. You think you're saving money, but if you plan on growing your business, you actually could be doing yourself a great disservice by attaching your business to a platform that can't grow with you. And so I would say, one of the biggest, positives about, working with our company is that we build all of our websites custom. There is no web builder software that we use. It's not a website in a box. Our clients can come to me and tell me their wildest dreams for their website, and we can actually make it happen. We can put it together, we can find the software necessary, and we can build it for them. So, no matter what clients need, they can get it built for them here. And they never have to worry about outgrowing their website ever. So, that's something that I would bring up. If you're out there, you're looking for a website designer, you're looking for someone to build your site for you. Definitely be mindful of that. Do some homework. Write down, literally, I ask my clients before we even get started, write down all of the things that you want your website to do. Ideally, if you had your way, right? If you could get everything you wanted, what do you want your website to do for your business? What do you want it to look like? And we take those notes and we do our best to make sure that we deliver a finished product that resembles, that initial vision that they have for their site. And maybe
Mm.
one other thing I would say, pretty simple, but you get what you pay for.
Mm-hmm. No,
You
you're
get
right.
what
You
you
get
pay
what you
for.
pay for, like especially with that, like you said, the functionality, what you wanted to do. People be wanting all this glitter, all this bling. When you open a website, I want curtains opening, and a lot of times you can't get that with these, these cookie cutter websites.
Right.
You know, and if you're a new graphic designer, like, can you just give an insight of what couple questions you may ask somebody, a new customer, like, I guess to streamline the process so you're not on there and you're not getting frustrated and basically wasting your time.
Right. Good question. So, as a graphic designer, and all these things that I'm saying, I know because I made the mistake myself. So, all of these recommendations are coming from years of trial and error. I remember when I first started freelancing in 2011, and I believe my contract was probably only one page long. And now it's gotten to the point where it's about 14 pages long, and those pages are full with lessons. I tell you right now, that everything is in my contract is because I experienced it myself, and I felt the need to put it in the contract to make sure that I don't get burned the second time around. So, for my graphic designers out there, maybe some questions to ask clients, and when they contact you and they're interested in working with you, um, would be, their timeline. Do they have a set timeline for this project, or is it ongoing? Is it a no rush type of a project? And I always ask that because I want to make sure that I'm doing my job as far as meeting their expectations. I have some clients that, they'll have a project and it's no rush. It's something that's still in the works. So there's no real hard deadline. And then I have other clients that'll contact me and they need something done by Friday. You know, um, Either way is fine. But if you're the designer, you want to ask so you know what you're working with. And then, maybe not in the very beginning. And this part just depends on your client load. So if you need every single client that's coming through the door, and I've been there before, trust me, um, you know, you might take those short notice projects that you might not be sure you can complete in time, but you're going to push the limit, right? And see if you can get it done. But maybe for, my designers that might be a little bit more seasoned, already have a solid client base, and someone um, contacts you and they need something done in 2 days, right? Or three
Mm-hmm.
days, you might want to consider a priority fee. You might want to consider charging them a little bit extra to jump the line in order to get their project done. And this is something that I have added to my services. Again, it's one of those things that's in the contract that wasn't initially there, but I ran into way too many experiences where people wanted something and they wanted it done yesterday. And because I needed the money, I didn't have the courage to turn them down because I knew I needed that invoice to be paid. So it's almost like I needed them more than they needed me. But as my my client loan begin to change, and I begin to realize, hey, it's not fair to my other clients that I'm starting on your project first, and you just contacted me, and I verbalize it to the client that way as well. The priority fee is not to hit you over the head and rob you, but at the same time, I do have an existing client load, and everyone is expecting their work to be done on time. So if you didn't do your job of preparing early enough in advance, right? So to the point where it doesn't have to be a rush job, then that is something that you as the client are going to have to compensate me for, you know, because I'm still going to get everyone else's work done on time, but I might have to stay up later than I usually do to make sure I get yours done on time. So you're paying me for not sleeping at night,
No, no, no.
or you're
You're
paying
totally
me
right.
for
Yep.
waking up early,
Mm-hmm.
to get your project in, to fit your project in and get it done at a reasonable time. So to my designers out there, you might want to look into, a small upcharge for your services that you provide to clients who need a rush turnaround.
Midnight burning the midnight oil. Um.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. And I got tips
um.
for days, but that's probably the one that stood out the most. Charge what you're worth. Don't be out here getting taken advantage of.
No, don't kill
Um,
yourself because you really end up feeling terribly when after you see and you reflect and you be like, dang, like I really put a lot of time in it. And then especially, and this may be just me, but you see people when they make money off the project that you did or the service you provide, and you be like, well,
hmm
I cut myself short because if you make $1 million, I should have, possibly charged more. Of course, you don't want to really count the coins, but definitely you want to make sure you compensate it just in case they blow up.
Oh
Um,
yeah, for sure, for sure. You have to, because you at the same time as a designer, if you're doing it right, you're going to have tools, that you have to invest in. You're going to have equipment that costs money. And you want to be able to invest in your business, invest in your craft with the tools and equipment that you need, whether it's a strong laptop, whether it's software, design tools, subscription based services. And you want to be able to afford all those things. So it's paramount that you charge what you're worth so you can afford all of the equipment and software that goes along with being a graphic designer or a web designer in these days.
Indeed. So take heed to all of this game that Don has given you guys, graphic designers, clients. Please don't stress the graphic designer out when you come
Please
and you
don't.
want this
I beg of
glitter.
you.
And,
Please
and,
don't.
and, and like I said, you got to understand your price point too. Like if you want Fiverr websites, then go check it out. If you want high quality performing websites, then, honor their craft. They might have went to school for this or whether they self-taught. It's people's time. People are donating their time, from their family and things like that, and
For sure.
putting their hard work in there.
Yeah.
Um,
Yep.
one
Agreed.
question that I always ask, before we end our show is name a time that you were on the fence about business
Okay.
or on the fence about just something in general.
Okay. Okay. Good question. You're gonna make me think on this
A
episode.
lot of
Let's
people say
see.
that though. Every time I ask that question, they be like, you
Okay.
done hit me
Okay.
with something.
Got you. Well, you know what? That's a great question. I love that, and I'm going to take you all the way back um, to when I actually first started. When I first started. So this had to have been 2011. I had just finished up a internship, and I was notified by the internship that they were not going to bring me on full time. So I was not going to get a job opportunity from this internship, which
Wow.
really, for most people, is the whole point of getting internships, right? You
Yeah,
you go to
especially if they're
college, you
not
get these
paid. Yeah.
internships, and the hope is that you put in the work and they love you and they bring you on full time. Well, this particular internship was a nonprofit, um, and they were great people. Still great people to this day. I understood that it was a business decision. Didn't make me any less salty in the moment, but I understand why they didn't bring me on. They were paying students each semester, to be an intern, and it might have been $750, $850 or something like that. Well, that's a far cry from paying someone a base salary with benefits and medical and all that good stuff. So the
Right.
numbers made sense. So I understood why they didn't bring me on full time. But at the same time, I was kind of back at square one. I was, about to graduate. At the time, I was working in the kitchen at a nursing home, Germantown home. Anyone that knows me knows that I was at that job for a minute. That was my job that I worked all throughout college just to get book money, to get rent money, so I could, take care of myself during the
Mm-hmm.
college days. But at that time, I wasn't really sure, what I should do next because I didn't have any job offers lined up. And once I graduated, and kept on applying for jobs, it just the job wasn't coming for me. Some of my friends, they jumped right into their career right away or pretty soon. For me, it took 5 years. It took 5 years
Wow.
between graduating college and getting that first, you know, um, job, full time job within
Mm-hmm.
my career. I had some part time, I had some temp positions, but nothing full time for 5 years. And so I like to tell people I'm an entrepreneur out of necessity. I didn't choose this life.
No,
If I
understood.
if I had
Like
my
it just
way.
forced you to do it. Yeah, the decision made you fall into it. Like something got to give.
Right. If I had my way, I would have graduated. I would have been working my dream job at this creative agency downtown in Philly. Taking the train into work to Center City with my briefcase. That
Mm-hmm.
was what I had envisioned for myself. But the decision that I was on the fence about was, frankly, whether I should go in business for myself.
Right.
I remember this like it was yesterday, and I share this story a lot with people. So I'll share it here. I remember I was living at home. So I had graduated already. Um, you know, I would land a temp job or a part time job here and there, but I really wasn't making enough money to sustain myself fully. So I was living at home, and my family is a military family. On my dad's side, um, a lot of them went into the military, and so when things seemed like it wasn't shaping out, that was naturally the option that was brought to me. Well, hey, listen, you got this degree. Doesn't seem like it's, any return on it. You might want to consider joining the army. And anyone that knows me knows I'm not a military person. All due respect, I'm not going to fight nobody else's war. Uh, I know enough about this country to know that all the wars we get into usually is about money or resources, and
Under.
I'm not willing to give my life for another man's greed. But I digress on that. But basically, I didn't want to join the armed forces, and I was getting a lot of pressure from some of my family members to do so, because it certainly didn't seem like the graphic design thing was working out for me. And so I really had to decide whether I should fold, and go into the army, get that quick money, right? Because they will pay you. They'll give you a
Mm-hmm.
house. They'll provide you with a lot of
I mean,
different
they had you
things.
laced for sure.
Right. And that was my decision. Should I give in to their demands and join the army, or if I should hold out and continue to work my business, and just work hard and hope that it will pay off. And I chose the latter. I didn't join the army, and I'm thankful I didn't. Some of my siblings, some of my family members went that route, and I respect them for doing that. I just knew that that was not for me. That was not the direction that I wanted to go in my life, and so I made a decision to stick to my guns, no pun intended, and rock out with this business thing. And the beauty of it is, it began to grow in such an organic way. I built my entire company off of social media. I hear some people say that they don't get on social media, they don't like social media. And my response to that is, you have to use social media. Don't let social media use you.
Please say that
And I use
again.
social media.
Please say it again, because I hear it all the time, and it stresses me because so many people say that, and they see the I don't want to call it civilian side of it,
Right.
but I'm gonna use that, the civilian side of it, because I feel like entrepreneurship is almost a secret society. So
I
I
feel
feel,
you.
yeah, it's almost like a secret society. So the issue I have is that, people say, "Oh, I see all these fight videos, and I just be connecting with people," but it's so much money or just connectivity online. With
Right.
everything being connected to technology, like if you don't have internet, you almost a caveman, lady, woman, child,
Yeah.
because everything to pay something. You go in the store, if they internet down, you can't even pay for a purchase. Now they got
Listen.
lights and everything is connected to that electric. I mean, it's just sickening. So,
Right.
you almost have to. We're a slave to technology. We're a slave to social media. People try to deactivate themselves, but you're just so disconnected from the world. Like, even if you, I mean, imagine Zoom.
Yes. Zoom came through last year.
It came through because
Zoom
imagine if
came through.
nobody had thought of that yet. We had Skype, but I don't know if people are still using Skype. There's an evolution to everything.
Right.
But just thinking of that is that you have to come out of your shell. Like even old seniors who like, I don't use cell phones, and had to get a cell phone. Now they walk around with
Right.
iPhones. You know what I'm saying? Because
Oh
the
man,
kids don't go
grandma
to
got
college.
an iPhone.
Yeah,
Watch
and
out.
she's texting and can't stay off the phone. So now it's just looking at that. You just have to kind of get into it, and you'd be surprised. Like you got people who have put a picture up of their product and it blew up. I'm talking about 8,000 orders in their inbox, and now they can't even keep up with that capacity because they only got 6 shirts.
Right. Yeah, you're so right. Like social media is a tool, and the the most successful people look at it as such. It's a tool that you can use to engage with your network, grow your network, um, and sell a service or a product. And if you keep it that simple, it will always be that simple. One thing that my mentor told me is that whether, and this applies to social media or anything else, is that you have the ability to design your life. You have the ability to um, decide who enters your life. Who you interact with, and so I take that rule and I apply it to social media. If I follow someone who, in my opinion, is posting and sharing things that, um, you know, don't agree with where I'm going in life, and maybe it's negative stuff, maybe it's things that I don't want to see or entertain. Well, it's America, right? I have the freedom to unfollow them. I can mute them. I can block them if I want. And so I think if more people took that approach to their social media platforms and literally design it, you know, unfollow people if they bring negativity to your mental. Unfollow people. It's free. So, with my social media platforms, I tend to follow pages that are inspirational, pages that I can learn from, but also friends that I can connect with. And when I first started my design business, just freelancing, when it was just me, I would design work and I would just post it to my Facebook profile. This was before Instagram. it was just my Facebook page. And people would like my photo. They would comment, oh, this is nice. This looks cool, what have you. And the more people that liked and commented under my post, I guess I grew a bit of a circle, a bit of a following. And then people started jumping in my DMs and asking me, how much would you charge if you did something like that for me? So I literally attribute a lot of my success, early success, and even current success to social media. I post work, people like it, they share it, or my existing clients, word of mouth as well. They share, my business information with people that they know who's looking for similar services. So social media has been a great tool for me. I can't speak for anyone else, but my business would not be where it is right now, partnering with 8 other creative professionals and having clients in about 10 or 11 different states if it was not for social media. So I owe a lot to social media and the social media effect of resharing work and that work kind of going all over the world.
I mean, I know for me as well, it's definitely just the amount of content we could share. Even with Facebook evolving, and Instagram, but being able to tag somebody, if somebody say, "Hey, a recommendation," they are even collecting data to see what are
Right.
people saying. Like they literally have people who sit at home probably all day or somewhere remotely to say, "Hey, I need you to see what people is trending. What are
Right.
people wanting?" I was looking at an article or something online and it was talking about the person that is actually in charge, which is a female, in charge of even recommending Facebook Live to Mark Zuckerberg.
Oh wow. Wow.
She said that it was more or less like, hey, why not we get the live component? And, doing so has changed the world. I mean, granted, we see some things that may not be commendable or may not be.
Of course.
You know what I'm saying? But I think that's with anything. Sometimes everybody take the beauty out of something. It's like
Right.
one bad apple spoils a bunch. But we have to kind of put blinders on when we see that and keep
Hmm.
pushing, as they say. Nothing is always beautiful. But what I'm getting at is that you have to connect with it. You have to find your niche. You have to find out what works for you, whether that may be a course and an ebook or speaking about it or whether you're teaching people through live, like I mean
Yeah.
creating videos.
Yeah.
Yes, content is king, as they would say. However you do content, I think people kind of put too much thought into content because you want to make it match what other people are doing. You could create content something simple as just showing face. People want to trust the brand, so you have to at least show your face at some point in time. I think we get
For
stuck on
sure.
how do I sound? How do I look? You walk around looking at yourself every day. So, and we post for pictures. So, like I said, with all that being said, and to, kind of come to a close, is that just be confident in your business. If you are on the fence about starting one, or you in the process of it and it's not moving, connect with people. Don't be afraid to ask questions. Hop in somebody's inbox. Hey, do you offer one-on-one sessions? Are you a consultant? Would you mind helping me? Or do you have any tips? Like even if somebody gave you a one liner, they may be able to point you in the right direction, even if it's simple as a website.
Yep.
So, don't
Yep.
be afraid to ask and hit up networking events and use your phone. Like use your phone as a vice. Go
For
ahead and
sure.
Google something because nowadays if it ain't YouTube University, it's Google University. So,
Oh man, I love YouTube University.
yeah.
I am a member. I am a full-time student at YouTube University.
That's what I'm saying.
And
Religiously, like it's just courses and YouTube and Google have changed the world tremendously. Like people have learned things more than they have learned in a 4 year career or in life. Period. So just use those tools. Speak life into each other. Continue to make these connections and don't burn bridges. You never know when you gotta go back and double back and be like, "Oops, I'm sorry." You know, uh,
oh, For sure, for sure. One thing that I will say, because you brought up, like growing yourself, and I can speak directly to anyone who's listening today, and you might be in the design industry, whether it's graphic design or web design. But truthfully, this applies to everyone, and anyone that is an entrepreneur. One thing that I would recommend for everyone, if you're getting into business, personal growth is necessary. It's mandatory. You will not get to where you want to go without personal growth. And you can take all the business courses, business in college, grow yourself personally. Like sit down and have a conversation with yourself. Evaluate yourself. What are areas that you could be better in? For a lot of people, it may be public speaking. It may be networking skills, confidence, self-image. Self-image is huge. If you are too busy worried about how you sound or how you look, you've lost the deal already when you're in front of the client, or you're in front of a connection that could be big for you, but your self-confidence is down the drain. You spend so much time focus on yourself and not on the other person, right? So sorry to jump in, but that's one thing that
No,
I
Don,
can
I'm
attest to,
I,
that has made me so much money and given me so much opportunity,
no, you're
just
right.
from me, really committing to personal growth, reading books, watching podcasts, and if you can, getting a mentor, finding someone who is further along in life than you and is willing to teach you, willing to take you under their wing and give you that game that you need. I've been fortunate enough to have a mentor, and I can tell you firsthand, I would not be where I am today without my mentor. He has saved me so many times and given me nuggets of wisdom, words of advice that I can take and apply to my personal life, my professional life, as well as business. So, word to the wise out there: if there's any way you can find someone and kind of have them as your mentor, do it. Figure it out and do it.
I second that motion. And I think we all have mentors. I think we just may not always call them that,
True.
because I
True.
think people had this model image of what they think a mentor looks like. But Don, I mean, you dropped so many like just words of wisdom and game and just dynamic models for people to follow and just really take in, that could help them scale their business, take it to the next level. So please tell the listeners where they can find you.
Okay. Okay. Well, first, thanks for having me. This has
No
been a
problem.
blast. Okay. For those that didn't catch it, my Instagram is at the Don Henry, and I'm always posting on there. Just sharing my thoughts, sharing articles, sharing opinions on current events and things that are going on. I've been told that my IG story has been very entertaining,
Hmm.
which I accept. So yeah, if you want to engage with me, you want to interact with me, hit me up. You can definitely follow me on Instagram. My Facebook business page is Don Brown Design, where I post a lot of my work there. And then also, obviously, my website, donbrowndesign.com. You can go there, take a look at my work, or book an introductory client call right from my website. If you want to reach out, you want to do business together, you have a logo you need designed or a website you need designed, CRM system even, you can reach out to me straight from my website. That's
And
donbrowndesign.com.
ladies and gentlemen, I highly recommend it. Before you make the full investment, see if it's something that you want to do. There is a need. I think a lot of times we get locked. We think we are locked in, and you don't reach out to people because of what you heard and things like that. So do the call, take that
Yeah, for
stab and see
sure.
if it works, and go from there, so that you're not locked in and you can add it to your list. Okay, I've done this many steps, I talked to this many people, And it shows, and not only shows in your work, but shows that you are showing ambition and moving forward to and closer to your dream. But this concludes episode 5. I had such a good time tonight. I knew that this would be, an excellent episode because we have so much in common. Um, and just, working with them on not only a business standpoint, but, just conversations outside of that. And believe it or not, Don has actually become, a mentor of mine. That if I had something that I wanted to know, being able to create graphics and things like that, I could say to him, "Hey Don, what you think?" He may say, "Hey, yeah, no," or "Go for it," or this is what I think. So I really thank him for doing that, because at times I'm not always able to reach out to somebody that I highly value their opinion. But make sure you tune into this episode, and let's get them numbers up. I'm trying to get past this 100. Let's be up there with the top podcast.
Oh, it's
Thank you,
coming.
Don, again.
It's coming. Just wait on it. It's coming. All of that. It's right
Thank
around
you,
the corner.
Don. Yes, and I will make sure that it's shared out. So have a good evening.
Thank you. I
Hmm.
appreciate it. You as well. And we will certainly be talking soon. I know that for
Yes,
sure.
thank you.